let's move to the last presentation. Barbara, I think. Yes. No? Who is talking? Davide. Professor Travaglini. Classification of dominant forestry species. Here we are with the answer to the last question by multi-source media spatial resolution remote sensing data.
Thank you, Marco. So this presentation is on the use of multi-source very high spatial resolution for the classification of forestry species. Several authors have contributed to this study, but I would like to thank Barbara De Perugia, who did most part of the analysis. Barbara is a PhD student that now is doing a training in New Zealand. So the objective of this study was the use of multispectral and point cloud-based data taken from conventional and unconventional remote sensing platform to classify dominant forestry species. The main objective was to see if the combination of multi-source data taken from remote sensing platform can improve the accuracy of the classification. Our study was carried out in the demonstration sites of Rincine, which is, as you know, one of the 3 demonstration sites of the Fresh Life project. The size of the study area is about 275 hectares, and this site was selected because it hosts several different forest types with different dominant forest species, such as Douglas fir and black pine, sweet chestnut, downy oak, turkey oak, and other Mediterranean species. This area is located here in Tuscany in the Apennine mountain. The remote sensing data were collected using both an helicopter and a drone. The helicopter did a flight in May 2015. The flight altitude of the helicopter was about 1,100 meters above ground level. Two types of sensors were carried by the helicopter. We have a LiDAR system which provided a point cloud with a point density of 10 points per square meter. The point clouds was classified into ground and above ground points, and the ground points were used to create a digital terrain model with a spatial resolution of 1 meter, and the DTM was then used to normalize the height of the non-ground points. In addition, we collected digital orthophoto in the visible and in the near-infrared bands. The red and the near-infrared bands were used to create a NDVI image over the study area. The image have a spatial resolution of 20 centimeters. The flight with the drone was carried out in July 2016. We used AB, that has been already described by Francesca. The flight altitude for the AB was 140 meters above ground level. The AB carried 2 types of camera, a RGB camera and a near-infrared camera. And we positioned on the ground 12 ground control points in open areas, and the position of these ground control points were determined with a GPS with a centimetric accuracy. Then the images taken by the drone were preprocessed using the Agisoft photoscan software, applying the structure from motion, the photogrammetric algorithms, in order to create a 3D point clouds with a point density of 40 points per square meter. The ground control points were used to improve the geometry and the positioning of the point clouds. The point clouds was normalized using the DTM, which was created with the point clouds acquired by the helicopter. In addition, we collected digital orthophotos with 10 centimeters spatial resolution, and again, using the images taken by the orthophotos, we created a NDVI image. We use also some auxiliary data. Specifically, we collected, we took the forest type map of the forest of Rincine. This map was created by Photo Interpretation in 2010 and was annexed to the forest management plan of the forest of Rincine. We also used the sample of 50 forest inventory plots. How these plots were acquired has been explained before, but the sample scheme that was used was based, as you can see, was based on a grid of quadrats with a site of 23 meters. So we use this grid of quadrats as a spatial reference for our classification. So we classified each quadrant of this grid in order to produce a final map that is consistent with the spatial estimation of other quantitative variables, such as the growing stock. This is the system of nomenclature that we applied for the classification. The system is composed by two different levels. The level 1 refers to the classification of the dominant forestry species, and the level 2 refers to the classification of three main categories, three main forest categories: the broadleaves, the coniferous, and the mixed forest. First of all, we applied a photo interpretation of each quadrant of the inventory grid using the digital orthophotos, and then the non-forest quadrants were excluded by the analysis. Then we applied a semi-automatic classification methods. To do this, for each quadrant, both helicopter and UAV data were used to extract multispectral features and point cloud-based derived metrics. A total of 10 multispectral features were extracted from the images, and a total of more than 50 metrics were extracted from both the LiDAR point clouds and the UAV point clouds. Several combination data sources were tested, so we used the multispectral feature alone and the point cloud alone, but we also did a combination with the multispectral feature and the metrics extracted from the point clouds. The quadrats of the inventory grid were divided into training and test sites, and we used two different classifiers, the random forest and the KNN. We used the software R to apply the random forest and the KNN classification algorithm. The accuracy of the photo interpretation was assessed using the forest inventory plot as ground truth, and the accuracy of the classification of the random forest and the KNN was assessed using the test sites. The accuracy of the photo interpretation was equal to 92% for the dominant forest species and equal to 96% for the classification of the forest categories in terms of overall accuracy. These are the results of the classification obtained by the random forest and the KNN algorithm for the level 1, so for the classification of the dominant forest species, and for the level 2, the classification of the forest categories. When we use the source variable individually, the overall accuracy ranges between 44 and 65 when we use the helicopter data, and between 32 and 47 when we use the UAV data. The accuracy increased when we combine the multispectral information with the metrics extracted from the point cloud, and the best overall accuracy for the classification of the dominant forestry species was equal to 71%. The best overall accuracy for the classification of the forest categories was equal to 83% using, again, the helicopter data. These are the user accuracy and the producer accuracy obtained by the classification performed by the random forest algorithm for the level 1 and for the level 2. For the dominant forestry species, we obtained, let's say, quite good results for 5, 6 out of 9 classes. And for the level 2, for the forest category, we obtained good results in terms of classification for the pure classes of coniferous and broadleaves. The images below show a comparison among the spatial distribution of the dominant tree species obtained by the photo interpretation and by the classification performed by the random forest. So concluding, our study has confirmed that the integration of the multi-source data coming from the multispectral information and the metrics extracted from the point clouds can improve the accuracy of the classification of the tree species. The random forest had a slightly higher performance compared to the KNN algorithm, and the overall accuracy increased by 29% when we used the helicopter instead of the UAV data, and the overall accuracy increased by 18% when we used the forest category as target for the classification instead of the dominant forestry species. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Davide. The last sentence of the conclusion is more or less obvious. But
yes, of course.
But also at the high level, the data survey, we have always the same problem. Forest is complex. It's a very complex target. That's the main point. Do we have any question or comment?
I know the cost for UV application, and do you know what is the average cost?
Now we'll plan a general survey of Italy. Yes, surely. We'd like that. Okay, thanks a lot, Davide. Any other comment or question? If this is not the case, I want first of all to thank all the speakers for their clear and sharp presentations, but also to think that I've been very happy with this session and also the previous one that had several papers and presentations strictly linked. I think that we can have some conclusion from this session that UAV and LiDAR is always more and more promising for forest management, for assessment, for monitoring, but that we need still more cover area, large data sets of LiDAR. Okay, thanks a lot, but I think that Gerardo will give a small talk.
No, it's just, I would like to thank you, Marco, for his job and his contribution. I would like to thank all the authors. I would like to thank the European Commission, the LIFE program, because we still have 1.5 years of work to do to complete this fresh life. We received 3 weeks ago the visit of the European Commission, and they were very satisfied of this project. And also for us, it was a great opportunity, because I think it was a good opportunity to see a small enterprise, small medium enterprise working in this advanced technology to develop. It was a good opportunity for the university. We have been able to buy new instruments and to be able to work with something that was relatively new. And most important, and it is the final aim of the LIFE projects, is to demonstrate that our work at university and the other research institutions are useful also for the everyday work of forest managers, because our data now are passing to the forest manager, to the local forest managers of the 3 demonstration sites. So they will go to use to every day this data, and we hope that we'll be able to change the way they are doing forest management according to this kind of new data that are available. So once again, thank you for your attention and have a nice day.